Hey everyone, my name is Chantel Vaca and welcome to my Capstone exhibition. I wanted to thank everyone for joining me this afternoon. Your feedback and your time are valuable to me and I'm sincerely honored of your participation. I'd like to take a moment to introduce the committee. First, we have Dr. Jennifer Betts, professor at Piedmont College. I became acquainted with Dr. Betts last summer during our social, cultural, and ethical perspectives class. The growth I experienced in this class was challenging in a way that I didn't anticipate, and I'm thankful for the graceful way that Dr. Betts led us through rough topics, and I'm honored to have her on my committee. Next, we have Dr. Lori Jackson, professor at Piedmont College, who taught reading methods. Being a math-oriented person myself, Dr. Jackson's professional yet open, relaxed demeanor made me realize that I actually may enjoy teaching reading methods after all. I'm thrilled to have her as part of this committee. And last but certainly not least, we have Dr. Candace Southall. Dr. Southall has taught several courses throughout my special education journey. She's responsible for the growth in my confidence and ability to understand and research applied behavioral analysis methods. I'm grateful for all I've learned in her classes. They've benefited me and most importantly will benefit my students for years to come. Thank you for being part of my committee, and I'm excited to share this with you. A special thank you goes to the facilitator and my personal advisor, Dr. Elias Clinton, who has been there since day one. His cool and collected manner, combined with his sense of humor, truly made this an enjoyable experience. And his teaching approach provided a model of which all educators should aspire. So thank you for your guidance and your encouragement throughout my journey. Let's see. Oh, hang on. And there's my thank you screen. All right. My topic this evening is effective strategies for twice exceptional students, special education, and English language learners, or ELL students. This topic is dear to my heart. Advocating on behalf of those with disabilities has been a theme throughout my life works experiences. And being an EL student myself, a native French speaker in Canada, transplanted to an all-English school in fifth grade, made fifth grade and middle school quite interesting for me. I currently serve as the EL's tutor and migrant education program tutor at Jefferson City Schools. And being now a Spanish speaker as well, I really truly connect with these students in a special way, and I enjoy working with them. I'm passionate about this topic. Before diving in, I'd like to address most importantly the CEC standards, the initial preparation standards, around which special education, special educators have centered their skill and focus. So standard one is, it really sets apart the learner and learning environment as the focal point upon which we create a specially designed, individualized lesson plan. We understand that a student with exceptionalities have unique needs, and their differences are influenced by language, culture, family background, and we are able to alter and modify instruction to allow access to content without compromising relevant, challenging, and developmentally appropriate learning environments. Standard two, initial preparation standard, addresses the importance of creating a safe learning environment for students. We have a responsibility to use evidence-based practices and skills acquired through professional development, through literature review and research. Standard three focuses on the individualization of content learning for students. These students really benefit from systematic learning experiences. so we design appropriate modifications, accommodations, and these systematic learning experiences requires really truly a solid understanding of subject matter. Um, all right, Standard 4 discusses the importance of assessment in special education, just minimizing that bias, providing multiple means of assessment, and using the results to guide our instruction. CEC Standard 5 explains how we must consider varying abilities, learning environments, interests, and linguistic factors when selecting or adapting a curricula, and even evidence-based strategies as well. It's not to say that we don't follow state standards, but rather that we're really specific and strategic in selecting evidence-based strategies. All right. CEC Standard 6 refers to the implication that, our knowledge of the profession truly is just beginning. This is a lifelong research and professional development. We require the application of evidence-based practices, and we also follow ethical principles and professional practice standards, and we are sensitive to complex human issues. We know that they interact with the delivery of special education services. CEC 7, Standard 7 is all about collaboration. Special educators, we are a resource in creating a positive learning environment that is meaningful for the inclusion of these students with exceptionalities, and the general educator is essentially the expert, the content expert. And so the combination of the two working together really provide some special learning experiences for students with exceptionalities. All right, so let's see, diving in, an overview of this topic, just items that I'll be touching in on would be just this identification process of students who are English language learners that also have an EL learning disability, the family and cultural dynamics, appropriate setting for them, barriers and strategies that work, and then education for the family, just as a wrap up, family support and engagement efforts. So let's see, in the identification process, according to Dr. Elsa Cardenas-Hagen, there's been some complications in identifying such students. It's been quite a complex issue for some time now, especially in the last 10 to 15 years. There's been a growth in students moving in that are English language learners, and educators are faced with the challenge of working with them in their classrooms, and then identifying if they have any learning disabilities has been challenging. But there are some direction, and there has been some research that has proven useful. And so some steps that are foundational in identifying a student with an EL learner who has a learning disability would be, first of all, when you do receive a new student, just go ahead and provide an evaluation. Just conduct an evaluation or a screening and use that as an anchor, a starting point for the student. Gather any information that either from a past educator or maybe family members, but conduct like interviews on key members for this student to gauge maybe where they're at, what their educational experiences have been. Next, in the classroom, you're going to use effective strategies that are just basically good teaching practices, but any strategies that are good even just for monolingual speakers. But you're going to make adjustments and adaptations for the students to account for, them learning a new language. They're not only learning a new content, but they're also learning a new language at the same time. And so there needs to be those adjustments and adaptations. Next step with that is you're going to look for progress. Monitor. You're going to progress. You're going to monitor progress very carefully. Progress monitoring is crucial to this because based on what that goal is, we will determine your next step on whether an evaluation by an expert would be needed or not. If a student is not progressing, then potentially it could be because of a learning disability.